Welcome to another episode of the Dark Art Society podcast. My name is Chet. I am your host, and I just recorded a whole intro and didn't hit the record button. That's always frustrating, but at least this time I'll get it really perfectly with no mistakes. Today's episode we have Kelly McKernan. She's a great artist, and we've shown together before and with many of the same galleries. And she's also part of a big class action lawsuit, AI lawsuit. So we talk a lot about that, talk about the woes of being working artists. Very interesting conversation, very fun. She's great. Her work's great. She's fun to talk to. Excellent episode, I think. So that's coming up. What's been going on with me? I've been working on these little paintings. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see them. See some. It's funny because I was painting 12 of these little mini paintings because I sell them for $375, so they're pretty affordable. They're little 2x3-inch paintings, and I made this little frame for them, which is pretty cool. See the little skulls on. I sculpted on there anyway. Because I had a big, end of the month. I have this big bill, business credit card bill that I put all my business expenses on a card and paid at the end of the month. And so I was working on these 12 little paintings to sell. And then my wife had a dental appointment. Turns out she had to have a bunch of dental work. And so we had a bill for $7,000. So I had to run home. I had to figure out what credit cards had money on them. Had to split it between two cards that I found that I had enough credit on. So, and I'm already it's already tenuous, my life. So just another $7,000, throw it on the pile. Anyway, so I started painting some more because I had some more panels. So now I'm going to try and get like 27 paintings done, these little mini paintings done. And I'm going to be selling them this week so that I can cover everything. It's just like, I swear, it never fails. I get ahead and something like this happens. I don't know what's going on. It's just insane. I don't know what the lesson here is. Anyway, so keep an eye out for that. I'll be selling those this week. I'm going to sell them to my patrons first, and then I'll be releasing them publicly like I do with all my new work. If you want to join my Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/ChetZar, and you can join that for as little as $1 a month. You get access to stuff like these sales before anybody else does. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/darkartsociety and join for as little as $1 a month. It's a good deal. It's cheap, and it helps me put this show on. And that's everything that's been going on. If you join at the $5 level on the Dark Art Society Patreon, you get a 20% off code for Skull Shop, SKULLSHOPPE. They make these amazing skulls, articulated jaws, and everything. And so that's a good deal too. Am I leaving anything out? I don't think so. Anyway, it's not important because the interview with Kelly is important. So here we go. Oh, wait. Yes, I did leave something out. See, I've already done this once. So I'm all confused as to what I said and what I didn't say. If you join the Dark Art Society Patreon, you get your name read on the air, and or on the air, on the podcast. And this week we have Stephanie Stevenson. Thank you, Stephanie. Now that is all, I believe. I can't think of anything else. All right, here we go with Kelly McKernan. Hope you enjoy it. Hello, Kelly.
Hi, Chet.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We've probably shown together. Have we shown? We've shown together, right?
I'm certain that we have.
I know we've shown it. Yeah, we've shown at the same galleries for sure.
There's definitely been a group show or a few in the last, I don't know. I think I've been showing at galleries for 10 years now, so I'm sure we've overlapped at some point or another.
Definitely. I think that's why maybe when I saw your work, when I went over to Twitter, started using it more, I think I recognized your work from the shows and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a big admirer of your work. It's really great stuff. So I wanted to have
Likewise.
you on. Oh, thanks. I wanted to have you on the show. Simple as
Thank
that.
you. Yeah, fun.
And like I was saying before when we were talking, AI stuff aside, it's like I just wanted to have you in the show because you're an artist. I want to hear your story. I like your art, but then there's this whole other layer of of AI to discuss.
Well, a side effect of that is that I've become more confident, like speaking in this kind of format, whereas ago I was just like, I don't know, I kind of want to stay in my cave.
Right. Yeah.
I handle it.
Yeah. It seems like there's a point, at least it was like that with me. There's a point in every artist's life where it's like to move things to the next level, you just got to start putting yourself out there, showing your face and going on podcast interviews and stuff. It just seems like, it's got to be done at some point. Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm resisting some things. Like, I think we were talking about video editing. Like, I hate video editing. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm being forced to learn and I didn't ask for it. Okay.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but we have to keep up.
Yeah. I like editing. I like editing when I have the time to edit, but I never have the time. It's like the process itself. I really like, process oriented technical things kind of, I'm like always been like that. And I enjoy I enjoy the editing process, but it's never fun because it's always like this extra thing I have to do because it's for my Patreon or because it's for a video I'm going to share on social media or something, it's just kind of like.
Yeah. Are you doing TikTok?
I have a funny relationship with TikTok, and that is that I hate it. No. My experience with TikTok was I've got two granddaughters that are 11 and 12 now.
Yeah.
And so that's how I learned about TikTok. And so it's like, imagine 11 and 12-year-old girls content. It's annoying. It's just like the most annoying stuff. Like, and it's like they watch the video, repeated times, and then they do like some kind of a video where they take the audio and they're editing it, and so then it's like someone making this horrible sound like over and over. And it's just it's like it totally was like, I hate TikTok. And then my granddaughter, the youngest one, took over my TikTok account so that I didn't have access to it.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, I need to get on TikTok because I know it's the thing, everyone's using it. And then I finally got it back from her because she started another account. And now I just I posted, what happens? I post one video and then I just forget about it and stop. And it's like, I know, and I've got all this content on my YouTube, all these time lapses. I just need to scrunch them together, maybe a little shorter, and I could be posting every day.
There's like a Gen Z kid who would love to do that for you out there. I'm certain of it. Just give him all that stuff and let him do that for you. Because I considered that myself. I'm just like, I have all this content and video and time lapse and stuff like that, but it's the reformatting it, making it 15 seconds or whatever, and having to stay on top of how to take advantage of a trend or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to take advantage of trends. I want to be. Let me be. Let me.
Exactly. Whenever I see those videos about new trends on TikTok, like on YouTube to take advantage of to get your or new trends on YouTube or whatever, it's like that's like nails on a chalkboard to me hearing about a new trend. It's like I hate new trends. I don't want to follow anybody else's trends. I'm trying to make my own trends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then occasionally one does catch me and I'm like, oh no, I have to do the trend. I
Right,
have to do
right.
the trend. I don't want to, but I have to.
If you know, that's the thing. It's like you're we're professional artists. This is how we make
Huh.
our money, and it's like
Yeah.
if an opportunity comes up that you can't pass by,
Hmm.
you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's like I the NFT thing I did for a while. It's like
Oh yeah.
I made so much money, I couldn't not do it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it was like
That's great that you have to, because I feel like for so many artists, it was just like a bad decision all around. I have heard very few cases where like it worked really well. So that's great
yeah,
though.
I came out. It's like I came in on the tail end of it, and
Yeah.
I came out ahead, for sure.
Yeah.
It was kind of amazing, but it was a real short
Wow.
period of time, and I it's like I still feel like I don't like the culture of the tech bro culture and all that.
Yeah.
It's like
Crypto, bro.
I
Yeah.
hate it. Like I can't even tell you, but
Oh, I'm with you.
I know
Don't
most
worry.
artists, but it's like the thing is I went in to NFTs like I'm gonna have an open mind. I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
judgmental. I'm gonna really give this my all, and I did all the Twitter Spaces, and I was like,
Mhm.
it just seemed to be kind of unfolding for me, so I went with it,
Yeah.
and then that aspect of it just got worse and worse. And then things stopped selling. It's like, well, I got to go back to where I'm making my money. It's not
Yeah.
about a platform for me. Just like I'm sure you understand, it's
Yeah.
about the art. We don't give a shit about where to sell it. You know, it's like
Yeah.
we only care as far as that we need to sell it so we can keep making art.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah. So were you doing like one of ones
Hmm.
on things you've already done? So I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
I did. I okay.
you're
Here's
just
wait.
out of work you've already done. So that makes sense.
Yeah. I did that, but I also so this is another reason it was really I felt like really good for me is that I was able to I used to animate in two
Okay.
D animation in After Effects, and I was super into it, and 3D animation. I was
Mhm.
totally into
Mhm.
that, and so I even did a series of looping animations in 2004. I did for Tool. I did a bunch of
Yeah.
looping animations for the live show. So I had all these animations, and at the time I was like, okay, it would be cool to put them in a gallery on a TV's flat screen that
Hmm.
and looping. So it's like they're art pieces.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
basically
Yeah.
like an NFT is now. But that was like
Exactly.
20
Yeah.
years 20 years ago, and it
Right.
was $5,000 for a flat screen, so I could never afford to do it. So it was
Yeah.
like I ended up putting it on DVD, so you could so you could
Hmm.
and selling that, and that was like okay, you turn your TV into a picture frame. It's not quite the same, but anyway, NFTs were like, oh, this is perfect for my animation stuff. So
Yeah.
I was able to take 2D paintings and animate them,
Yeah.
which was super cool. Like I love that process. So
Yeah.
and
I think that's great.
yeah, and I also and before I'll stop I'll stop talking about NFTs. But the thing that I do like I understand the collectability aspect of it, and I think that's the part that's real in the sense that people like to collect baseball cards, people like to collect art, and people that are online and into crypto art and crypto and NFTs, they like to collect, you know,
Hmm.
NFTs,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's legit in that way.
Well, I
Eh,
have to tell you my story now.
Okay, I want to hear it.
I have one. So I've never personally released any. I
Hmm.
decided to pass on it just initially being kind of like, oh, I don't know about this culture. So
Yeah.
I never got into it, but I did a bunch of work for Evanescence that's been a part of an ongoing graphic novel anthology.
Hmm.
And one of the paintings I made for them, their team turned into NFTs and like collectible tokens, and they like animated this angel character that I painted and everything. It was pretty cool. I didn't know they were going to do that though, so I had some like mixed feelings about it, and
Yeah, for sure.
some of my fan base was like super grossed out by it,
Yeah.
but that doesn't matter. I didn't have a choice in it because they own, the copyright to all that work. So that was their decision. But the funny thing that happened was at a Comic Con, I believe it was in Chicago, so it was C2E2. this guy comes up to me and he points at one of the posters behind me because I had a few. They made like these limited edition, glow in the dark, amazing posters, and they sent me a few, so I had them hanging up behind me. And this guy comes up, he points to it, and then he says, "I have that." I'm like, "Oh, really? That's so cool! Like, that's amazing." And then he pulls up his phone, and this tiny, tiny little version of the NFT in his collection. And I was like, "So I have the real one, like right here. Do you want to look at it? Do you?" He's like, "No," and just walked away. Like, my mind is blown right now. It was just the wildest thing that, yeah, and that was it. Didn't even stick around to be like, "Oh yeah, no, that is cool." Had no interest in the poster, just kept going.
Wow. What that must have been a shock.
It was wild. It was wild, but that's the only interaction I've had with that, was this guy showing me one on his phone, and I'm like, "Is that what it's about?" It's just showing your friends, like, look at my Pokemons, look at my NFT collection.
That's exactly, I think, what it is. Really, it's for people who are, online and into it. It's like, and so it's legit in that way because it's the same.
It has value.
Yeah, it has. People like to collect all kinds of weird shit. It's like I've got all this. All kinds of weird crap on the back, stuff from my childhood and, weird toys. You know how it is. So So I get it. It's like, and the other thing is, like, I knew artist friends who are digital artists, and they were finally able to monetize their work. And,
absolutely.
And they didn't have health insurance, and they got sick, and they were able to pay for things. So it's like there was this really, like, potential, like, wow, this could be the big thing for artists doing digital. And then it's just like all these assholes and criminals and scammers just flooded it and ruined the whole thing.
That's how I feel about AI art.
Yeah, right.
It was like, look at the potential for, like, an incredible tool for artists, or like a way to speed up your workflow, except all the things that, like, I hope gonna be. But then it was like, oh no, these super capitalist tech bros, like, with their utopian future ideas, took it, and then they were like, actually, we want to profit off it, and we don't care if it's ethical. Right. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Like, we could have had something nice.
Yeah, that's cool that you say that, because I've been kind of like able to see both sides of the AI debate in a way, right. but absolutely, I think the way that they got the data was wrong, right. For sure. That's like my biggest issue. It's like no one was asked. They're working on a technicality. It was trained using the it was supposed to be for nonprofit, and then they turned it into profit. It's like, that's just
the wild thing is that the nonprofit. So it was Stability who commissioned the nonprofit data, which Stability then took and profited from. Right. So it's just, they know what they were doing.
Yeah. That's maybe they didn't realize how big it was going to be, but that doesn't matter. It's like still,
Yeah. It's been wild.
But okay, before we get into that, I want to just give people, your background and, like, hear your story and how you got into art, and were you an art kid and all this stuff. Let me hear your life story.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, I'm originally from San Diego. Oh, okay. I was born to a 5.8 earthquake on July 7th. And it got pretty wild from there, I'd say. So
Cancer.
I was...
You're a Cancer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Okay. I'm a double Cancer, actually. Oh. Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon. It's a whole problem. It's a lot. It's really a lot. That's why I make art. I have to express it somehow, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I was an art kid, drawing all the time, but I was also doing so many other things. I was into music. I was into, exploring. Like, I was just a really imaginative child, like, and then, like so many of us, I kind of had a bit of a rough period in my childhood where the only thing I felt safe doing was my art, because if I drawing, or if I was writing, or if I was reading, one of these things, I was out of the way and I wasn't a problem.
That was me. Yeah. That was me 100%.
Yeah.
Everyone's fighting around me, and I'm just like, this is my safe place, and I not get hit by the crossfire.
Yes, that's yeah. So like I lived in my head as a kid and I got very good at excavating every corner of it and just yeah. And then growing up, ended up in a lot of art classes. I did AP art in high school and then awesome. Yeah. When I was in AP art, I thought about becoming an art teacher because what my art teacher in high school did for me was so, eye-opening and expansive. And I just felt like she gave me such a gift that I was like, I have to go do this. So I wanted to go to an art school that would also allow me to pursue a degree in art education because I wanted to teach. But I didn't really have great grades. So I went to a state school with a free scholarship based on like my grades. So I grew up in Atlanta actually. And if you make decent enough grades, I think it's like a B average, like free tuition at a state school. So I just did that. Looking back, I think that was a really good choice because I didn't end up with student loan debt. But I also spent 5 years in a program that it was kind of a mixed bag. So I ultimately dropped the art education major because I completely fell in love with painting. And then I was a double major in photography for a while because I was really into finding ways to combine mediums. So I found a way for a while to combine darkroom photography with painting. I would buy silver gelatin as a substrate or to create a substrate with, watercolor paper that I was tea staining. So I made my own, shot my own reference material, and then created these mixed media paintings. So it was a darkroom photo that I paint on top of, and it was a really, really cool process. And it was like right around that time. So it was like 2008 that I started putting all of this art online. It was like a few years into my college career. And I kind of like took off on DeviantArt. I took off on the Live Journal had a really great art community at the time.
Oh, yeah.
I started showing with local galleries and just a handful of others, but I didn't really take off in the gallery scene until like 2012, I think. So it took a few years, but anyway, so I did this project. I like to tell the story about this project I did in college. I called it 30 paintings. And in 6 months' time, my goal was literally just to make 30 paintings. It was a self-directed project. And the whole point was to just, do as much as I could and find maybe 8 to 10 pieces that I felt really good about that. And there's my portfolio, right? It worked. So I ended up, with a lot of experimental stuff, but from that, I got my 8 to 10 pieces that showed, a cohesive style, the mixed media stuff that I was doing, started submitting to galleries, publications, and kind of just like went from there. I graduated in 2009 with my BFA in drawing and painting. I dropped the double major because I was never going to graduate if I didn't.
Right.
Could have stayed in school forever. So after graduating, it took me about 3 years to go full-time. But in between, I always just kept part-time jobs, either as a nanny or preschool teacher, stuff like that, because I still enjoyed teaching. But 2012 was the year I went full-time. So it's been 11 years now. Kind of still living the dream.
I think yeah. It was I think it was 2013 for me is when I went full time, and it took me a lot longer. It took me 7 years, I think, before I was able to leave. But living the dream / nightmare. I wanted to let you know too that when I talk, it cuts your voice out. So that's why I'm not like saying anything and I'm just nodding. Normally I go, but it's like every time I do it, I can't hear what you're saying. So that's why I'm kind of quiet when you're talking. Anyway.
Oh, good.
So keep going. Is that it?
Yeah. No, I've got more going on.
Yeah, you're teaching, right? You're teaching right now, aren't you?
I am now. Yeah, so like 2012 to 2017, like 5 years of just upward mobility. Social media game is like super strong.
What was your primary social media platform? That Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
Most I ever had was like 113,000 followers. It's gone down a little bit, but
that's a lot.
Yeah, I reached like a really solid point where I could credit Instagram for floating my career for several years.
Wow.
Because be able to have that access and reach to that many people who wanted to support my work, like that allowed me to like really, really take off. And I made some of my best work in that time because I wasn't super stressed about making ends meet. It was all just...
Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice when that happens? Every once in a while.
It was amazing. And then I had a baby in 2014, right in the middle of it. Because,
oh, wow.
That's the thing we do. So I was able to coast on all of that for a few years, even with like a baby and not being able to produce much.
Amazing.
It was still... I was making a decent living off my prints and my online shop, and the occasional illustration gig. I wasn't doing a lot of illustration yet. Here's the thing, is when I was in art school, it was a fine art school. Illustration was a bad word, even though I could come with like a James Jean covers book and show my professor and be like, well, what's this? He couldn't like really give me an answer, but I was like, well, this is what I want to do. I want to pursue an illustrative style that I can also use to get, client work that makes sense for me, which I am doing now. It worked out. But all those years ago, I just was like, how do I navigate this? I didn't feel like anybody was doing fine art in an illustrative style.
Right. Was it one of those schools where it's like, put a piece of wood on a banana on the wall type stuff?
No, not conceptual. Like old school, old masters.
Okay. Usually, because the story. Okay, the story I've heard more often than not is like I wanted to learn illustration, and it was more like conceptual. It was more modern art, but not like this art scene, and more like.
I didn't have that experience.
Okay, that's good, because it's like the old masters are at least, kind of you could apply that to illustration somewhat. Yeah,
I just had to narrative and all of that so strong, but I had to work past this like blockage in my brain where like, what is illustration?
I know, right?
I do it. I'm doing it, but I didn't know I was doing it.
Right.
But I think me and a bunch of other people, I feel like at the same time, we're all like moving into this, illustrative graphic style in the fine art arena with, pop surrealism and all that.
Like there was Audrey Kawasaki and
yes,
there's a whole kind of little mini subset of folks like you that were doing this sort of like graphic, illustrative, but that's what I thought that I always like that kind of work because it's like that to me that is fine art to present illustration and kind of graphic work. Presenting it as fine art is almost like that's what makes it fine art instead of illustration is just the presentation, really, don't you think?
I think so. And I think there's a lot more to it also where a lot of illustration is narrative heavy or narrative driven.
Right.
But say that fine art, especially, like this era we're in right now, we're all really doing the same thing, just how you're presenting it. Is it going up on a wall at a gallery? Is it a painting? Right. Or is it a digital illustration that, could, for all intents and purposes, like, do the same thing, print it out, put it on a wall, and no one would know the difference.
Right. Yeah. It just seems like, especially because fine art is such a weird term, and it's like as artists, I'm sure this is the same with you. I think all artists generally are like, nobody gives a shit what you call it. We just want to make our work. We don't care what it's. Yeah, we don't care what it's called. We just want to make our work. You can call it whatever you want. but it just seems like a lot of what differentiates fine art from illustration is that it's presented as fine art. Super narrative work. I mean, think of like Joe Coleman or something, where he's got like little stories going on and bubbles of people talking.
Yep.
It's like, that's kind of like a comic book, but it's presented in a way that's like, oh, this is fine art. And it's, anyway, just an
So
interesting.
I think it's just so fascinating.
Yeah.
All the people breaking those rules. Like, is that not the purpose of what we do?
Exactly. That's the point. And then it's like,
That's the whole point.
but there's all these rules here set by the kind of art establishment that's like, no, this is illustration, this is bad, this isn't fine art. And it's like,
Yeah. So I had to like break out of that. The art school mentality that I was served was like, this is fine art. That's illustration. That's commercial. That's selling out. You want to be like soulful and say something. It's like, why not both? I can do that. Watch me do it. It's funny though. They actually invited me back a couple of times to talk to their current students. They developed the illustration program after I left. I love it.
Ultimate vindication.
I know. And now I'm a adjunct professor at an art college nearby teaching illustration.
Yay. That's
but like full circle. It's so good. I love it.
You won.
I did. What did I win? Really, I can't afford.
Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't what I was. Okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But figuring out, I also do Comic Cons, and I'm working in comics now, which is cool. Evanescence gave me the opportunity to not only do the interior art of one of the recent issues of the comic, but I also got to write the story. So I had my very first writing credit on a 12-page comic that I made all the art for, and I did the main cover and the variant cover. In my wild dreams, never thought I'd do that.
How long did it take you to do that? Because that's one of the things I want to do. Everyone knows who listens to the podcast. I've been talking about this, where I want to take my paintings and sort of put them in a comic book form. I'm curious how long the process took for you, because I haven't done it yet.
So the thing is, I'll tell you how long I was given. I had 3 months from start to finish. And I had some other bumps in the road, actually, hilariously. The week before it was due, the AI lawsuit was announced. And so next it proceeded like one of the most stressful weeks of my life, trying to finish the comic and deal with all the, but I had 3 months. But I give yourself like 6 months minimum, because I feel like there's just so much in the process that is mentally exhausting, that if you force yourself to do in a really short amount of time, I think you're just going to burn yourself out.
I'm too at this point, I'm too old to like, I don't have the energy that I used to
you need like stamina. I just turned 37, and there are these young artists, 20, 21, 22, 23, making incredible stuff, and they're like blowing up, and I'm like, oh buddy, watch out for that burnout. It's gonna and then you just have to drag yourself out of it over and over and over. And now I'm just tired, like all the time.
It gets worse when you're in your 50s, believe me.
I believe you.
It's more like I got to pace myself now. It's just like,
do you have a lot of like, I don't know, do you have all-nighters anymore? Do you push yourself through?
Once not like I used to. Like in my 40s, I was pretty good, because I was like desperate to get out of makeup effects in the film industry, because I was so unhappy there. So it's like I was really driven, and I was able to do all kinds of all-nighters. Oh, no, like 30s, actually. I started making that trying to start a fine art career when I was 33 is when I made the decision. So like 30s, 40s. And now the thing is, I can do it if I have to, but then it takes me like, it ruins the week after. After, I'm just like, I can't do anything.
Yeah. So like that week when the lawsuit came out and I was, trying to finish the comic, I think I had like 3 all-nighters
Oh
in
my
7
God.
days. And it took me at least a few weeks to recover, just mentally,
Yeah.
all of it. But I'm so proud of the work. I'm so proud of it. And I would do it again. I hope I get to do it again. But
Cool.
man, I can't push myself as hard as I want to anymore, though.
I know. I
Whew.
know. Wow, that's cool. So is it available, the comic? Like,
Oh yeah, so I know it's online. It was in comic shops back in February, but I believe they're releasing the first volume of the anthology next month.
cool.
And I have 2 comics in it and 4 covers, and I think my art is on the cover of the anthology itself too. So I can't wait
Wow.
to see it. I'm so proud of the work.
Yeah,
It's
congrats.
amazing.
That's
Thank you,
amazing.
thank
That's
you.
super cool.
I was a huge Evanescence fan in high school, so it really was just wild getting that opportunity.
That's
Just
so
dropped.
how did you end up working with them?
Apparently, Amy Lee sought me out specifically for the project. I was the very first artist they reached out to, and I didn't believe it. I thought for sure it was spam, but then it was through a heavy metal email address. So I had a contact there. I think, put a
Hmm.
few people in contact, and yeah, so it was legit. And I got it in like November of 2020. And I just was like, if this is real, I think I'm about to be woken up inside. Stupid joke.
Yes.
Uh, I just sorry. But no, that is what happened. Like I was so depressed. So I hadn't been painting hardly at all, just
Mm.
lost all the will and creativity to do anything at that point in the pandemic. And so so I had 3 weeks to do the first painting. And I listened to their music absolutely nonstop while I worked on it. It was this incredibly immersive experience, making art for the band, listening to the music, putting that directly into the piece that I'm making. This like synergy was unreal.
That's cool.
And when that was done, I couldn't talk about it, which sucked.
Yeah.
I had to wait like 3 months to finally be like, oh my God, you guys. It was a real turning point, especially in the pandemic, because I needed that so badly. I had no idea.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, you've obviously done a lot. Are you like me in the sense that you're making most of your money from your web store,
Yep.
like
Mm-hmm.
print sales and stuff?
Originals that often.
Okay,
I
right.
are moving them. Some years are better than others.
Hmm.
I would say this year has been better. And I think it might be a response to AI art and people being interested in supporting my original work, which is super cool. But yeah, the bulk of my income is from my online shop
Hmm.
and like 4 Comic Cons a year, like New York Comic Con and Dragon Con and a couple others.
Oh, okay.
And that's about it. But I did pick up my teaching gig recently because like I literally have not been able to make ends meet for like a year now.
Hmm.
It has been unbelievably stressful just every month trying to make sure I have enough
Man.
to pay
Uh,
enough to pay my utilities.
you don't have to
My
tell
car.
me.
That's great. Yeah, no, I
I
know.
complain about it all the time.
Yeah, I just like, hold on. So I've worked this hard for this long, and now I feel like I'm back to square one, just trying to get by. And now my rent's like 3 times as much. So I don't know. Nothing makes sense anymore, man. So I picked up the teaching gigs. I was like, I really need something consistent that also serves a purpose for me. It's been great so far because I'm getting to work directly with the next generation of artists.
Yeah.
And especially right now, my personal response to AI, my fear of generative AI taking young artists in a direction where they feel like they have to compromise for speed, for quality, or whatever by using generative AI instead of developing their own skills. Like I'm worried about that.
Mm.
I'm worried about current art students, not even getting an opportunity to paint because they're being pushed into, you have to use these programs and these brushes and these things. Like, we're going to lose the fundamentals. And I'm like super concerned about that. And just the next generation of artists in general. And so I am very lucky. I have this job where I'm getting to work with my own directive purpose. I feel like, paying it forward, working with the next group of kids. And I love it so far. They're great. They're cool.
Yeah. And you also, you were going to do that in college. So it's kind of like
anyway,
you're coming back around.
It was going to be like high school students. This is way better.
Cool.
Way better.
Who are you teaching? What?
So right now I have one class and I'm going to pick up a few more in the fall. But I'm teaching something called alternative mediums, which is basically a painting class. So I get to teach these students how to use watercolor, how to use acrylic. I'm supposed to teach them oil soon.
Oh, cool. What age?
They're like 19, 20 years old. They're within their first few semesters. I think they're in their third semester. Yeah. But they're all illustration students. Excellent. And I adore them. They're all fantastic.
That's so cool.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I love it.
I started teaching as just like I got offered to, I think around 2010 maybe, for a tattoo convention, because so many tattooers paint now, and at the time they were wanting to learn to paint. So the painting classes at tattoo conventions or seminars or whatever were pretty popular. So I started doing that. And it made me so much of a better painter. I had no idea, because it's like I was never really interested in teaching. It just never really, I don't know. My mom was a teacher, so I don't know. Maybe I got it in me somewhere to teach, because I was pretty good at it too. Like, I'm pretty good at teaching. And I had no idea though. I had no idea, and I liked it. So it's like, once I had to break down my process and like go, okay, what am I doing? Because I was always super intuitive with how I learned to paint, and I would read books, and I taught myself kind of how to paint. So it was all like inside my head. It wasn't, I didn't go to school or anything. So it was not verbalized, even though I was reading words. So it was really super valuable to me as an artist to, it's kind of classic, this teacher learns from the student kind of situation too. Cause
totally. It just reinforces everything, right? It's a whole other skill to take what and translate that into words and demos to people so that they can understand it. It's that, have you heard of the curse of knowledge?
What's that?
The curse of knowledge.
No.
It's exactly what it sounds like, where it's just, you are such an expert at what you specifically do that you don't even realize how much how much knowledge you contain, because then you go to try to explain it. You're like, well, I don't know how. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Kind of,
you get it. It's kind of challenging sometimes, because I'll feel sometimes like, what do I know? I mean, I know how to do what I do, but know how to tell someone else how to do something.
Right.
Like I do actually I have the knowledge. I just have to fill it. But it's cool. Fun little art brain mind games that we do, like imposter syndrome and all that stuff.
It's also really rewarding. That's because I do on my Patreon, I do these mentorship things where I'm kind of teaching and giving people advice, and it's like, to see people grow as an artist is like, again, this was like, I got to make money with my Patreon. What do I have to offer? Okay, I'll do a mentorship thing. I think maybe I have something to offer, and the students love it, and but I didn't expect seeing them make progress from you helping them. It's just like, wow, so rewarding. It's like I got this added bonus on top of it, that it's like, wow, exciting. I look forward to meeting these people to see their progress, and it's really cool. Yeah,
it's amazing. It's such a cool perk to all of it. So I've been kind of like I think I mentioned, I've been kind of burnt out on my career because I'm just so focused on making ends meet that,
Mm-hmm.
The creativity is just not as ample as it used to be because I'm so stressed.
Right.
So taking some time away from my practice to go and teach is kind of refueling me a
Yeah.
bit, like working with the students and remembering why I love what I do
Right.
and why it is, and be able to share that with them and see them pick up something and do it themselves. It's magic. It's
Yeah.
magical.
Really.
And it's just kind of like, I know it's going to help cure this burnout. It's part of why I got back into it.
Definitely.
It's rewarding. It feels good.
Excellent. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. This is why I have all these little mini paintings.
Yes.
My wife went to the dentist yesterday, and I had to put. It was so expensive. I had to put it on two different. I had to find two credit cards that had enough money on it,
Yeah.
and I had to split the payment on two credit cards. And I'm like, I gotta seriously make some money. So it's like, oh, I'm doing these little,
Yeah.
these were really popular. The first time around, I made a little
Yeah.
frame, and it's
I
like,
love it.
thanks. I know
Yeah.
my daughter-in-law is like, they're so cute, and she's not really even into dark art.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like I have to bust these out.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
bust these out so that I can
Oh,
try
yeah.
and pay on that credit card, or
Yeah.
I'm already in debt, and it's like I just added like $7,000 more debt. It's like this is so fucked. But this is like life as an artist. People don't
Yeah.
realize it. This is the way it
Yeah.
is. And it's like,
There's so
okay,
there's so many projects that I've picked up specifically because I'm like, okay, I have to make this amount of money by
yeah,
this time. How do I do that?
yeah.
And I keep doing it because I get resourceful or
'Cause,
something.
yeah, you
I
have
live in this capitalist system.
exactly. It's like that's kind of the issue. I keep saying about AI. It
Yeah.
seems like a good time to maybe start talking about that. But
Yeah.
uh, uh, it's more of a capitalism problem than anything. Is the fact
Yeah.
that all these artists are like their jobs are threatened because of this new technology, and artists are so desperate to have to make money to do what they love and what they're meant to do. As much as AI is kind of a symptom, but it's like this is a problem. But the whole system is just so completely fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we have to basically work ourselves to death, or work a job we hate. It's like that.
Yeah.
Those aren't good alternatives. Those aren't good
Yeah.
options.
I read somewhere somebody wrote that AI is the solution to a problem that doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Kind of that's yikes.
okay. Let me tell you first where I stand on AI. Just so
Yeah.
I had what's his name? Steven Zapata.
Yeah. Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah, because at first I was like, oh, this is really cool. Before I knew anything about AI, this is amazing. This is cool. I think all the things I could do. I can, if I need some reference, instead of like going online and snagging a photo, because that's kind of like stealing too. And it's like we all do it. You take pictures off the internet, or if you can't photograph them yourself, if you need reference.
Right.
Which I don't usually use reference anyway, but it's like there's times when I need it. So I was like, oh, I can render something out quickly, whatever. I could see the practical uses. I could automate this and that, just like you were saying earlier. And then I heard Steven's argument against Image AI's video, and I was like, oh man, it's like this is fucked up. And so I had him on. Then I had my friend Meets Meyer on, who's like super pro AI, and he's a good friend of mine, and I know he's like he's a good guy. He's not he's acting in good faith, as they say.
Right.
Super cool guy. So I had him on, and he kind of talked about his perspective. And I know that he is like he's a true artist as far as like digital people and visual effects. He's a real artist that does digital effects. He's not like a technician kind of guy. Anyway, so I kind of had both of them on to sort of like talk about two sides of the two sides of the issue, because you know how it is online. It's very contentious.
It's black.
So I guess where I landed was, I do think that technology is amazing. I do think it would be useful, but not necessary for me, but it would be helpful probably. But the way that it was created is totally fucked up and evil, and and I think that definitely it could have. I already see it. Now. What I'm saying, the way I see it is like taking, so far what I've seen is taking low wage, like graphics on a news feed, where instead of using a picture of Elon Musk going, it's got like an AI picture of him. And it's like you see it just like seeping slowly into the culture. But I think it's not as dangerous as I was initially worried about for illustrators, because everybody hates it so much that when you when
real hard to make sure everybody hates it.
no when a publisher, because you've seen it, when a publisher uses a picture, an AI, everyone gets so pissed. So that's been like a kind of a good thing for illustrators and people who make their living that way. So anyway, I do, so that's kind of my take on it. And and it feels like it's got to be worked out in the courts, and because the copyright law isn't really equipped to deal with it. It seems it's right.
Yeah. So that's
So I'm glad that they're getting sued, basically, because it needs to be something needs to be figured out, because it's like everyone.
We're trying to set the precedents for how it's handled, and that is essentially what the case I'm a part of is doing.
Right. And it's like, people should be getting paid if their work was used. It's like the way I was saying it online. It was like, it's bad enough that you went and took all our fucking images without asking. The least you could do is offer some kind of compensation. Even that would be not cool because you didn't ask first. But since you did it already, how about just offering some money up or something, so we don't feel like total idiots?
Right.
Just a matter of respect.
Yep.
And so one more thing, and then you can go. Yeah. Then you can go. I want to hear your thoughts, but one more thing, because I'll forget, because I think I got ADD, but I'm not sure. But
I'm the worst.
If I don't say something, I'll forget it. Another thing that bothers me is I never see people that are really anti-AI. I never hear them say, admit the benefits of it, admit that there are good parts about it that are potentially useful. And then the people that are super pro AI never address the stolen art issue. It's like they act like it never, like they won't even address it.
Yep.
And like that's, you don't think that's a reasonable concern? Come on. I mean, it's like, let's be real about it. You got to you say that you love it, but at least admit that it was it was done in a way that was dishonest and disrespectful to artists, Anyway, okay. So
Absolutely.
You go now.
Yeah. Oh, no. Thanks for sharing all that. I'm totally with you on almost all of that. So when I was first learning about the technology, really, really finally happening, I think this was like March 2022. So like a little over a year ago. I was like pretty excited, because I was like, okay, so if this is going to work the way I think it's going to work, I will be able to put my artwork into a data set, create a data set with my art, and maybe the art of my historical influences. So people who are dead and there's no longer a copyright, attached to their work. So if I did that, I would be just so morbidly curious to see what an algorithm would create with the information that I'm serving it. It would be an ethical system and a closed system,
right,
so that nobody has access to my entire, breadth of work, 15 years of work. That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought, and I thought there was, going to be a massive database, which, ended up happening. Instead of scraping the entire internet, like, thinking that's fair use, it would be made up of copyright free material, Creative Commons, people who have consented to having, maybe their stock photography in there, or their own artwork or photography, licensed stuff. Let's say, what if they had reached out to Getty and Getty was like, okay, yeah, for this fee, we'll license all of your photography. That would, that's so powerful.
Right.
It could have been an ethical system.
Totally.
It could have been.
And how many artists would have been like, yeah, for a nominal amount would have been like, yeah, I'll give consent. And it wouldn't have even had to have been that much because we already make so little compared to, the rest of the world.
How many of something on Society 6 and make 25 cents when someone buys it? Like, we're obviously willing to do that.
Right.
So it kind of felt like it was all there. But somebody decided along the way, like, oh no, we're not going to ask permission. We're just going to take at will because the law is not cut up. We know the loopholes. We know what we can get away with and what legislation and the law will take years to catch up. They were right about that.
That's so unethical.
It's so
totally unethical.
Yeah. So when I saw Midjourney start becoming really popular last summer, I believe it was still in beta. And that's when we started seeing these like fully fledged, beautiful candy colored images, all these, interesting organic looking things happening on I was like, well, this is really fascinating and beautiful. And how are they doing this exactly? So I started doing my research and stuff, and I find out a lot of these beautiful images are using prompts that include the names of artists who are alive and working today. And eventually I find out what the fuck, my name is in there. My name is in this database that these companies, Midjourney, specifically Midjourney, encouraging their users to try adding the names of artists to your prompts to get more interesting results.
That's right. I heard that on the interview on KCRW that, just to be clear, there was a kind of a list of instructions or something telling people how to use it. And your name was they would say, try putting in an artist name, and your name was in one of those.
In one of them. Yeah. Okay. So this is all publicly available information, so I'm not saying anything nobody knows about.
Right.
Through different iterations of their website, they would tell their users, try to get more creative results by using the names of artists. And in one such paragraph, they list, a few dead artists, but a bunch of living artists too. I was not in that specific paragraph, but it was just an example.
Oh, okay.
They would also direct their users to these user-created databases of artist names, along with like whole spreadsheets of like, okay, this is what happens to this image if you add their name. It's like a this plus this equals, and here's how you get your style, and here's some words to use with it. Just like totally breaking us all into just weird data points.
Imagine though, from like, you have to, just totally as a devil's advocate, imagine being a kid who's into this sort of thing. Imagine how fun it would be to have this machine where you could make these prompts. You don't have to have any talent, artistic talent. And I could see why people are kind of got so addicted to it, because it does sound like a fun game or a fun hobby, kind of, in a way. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. And there's no reason it couldn't have remained that, especially if they wanted to, suggest using the names of artists. Give them artists who don't get yourself in legal trouble and name living artists. Like, it seems so obvious, right?
Yeah, right.
But they didn't do that.
Imagine if we were all making 25 or whatever, making a penny every time someone typed a thing in, we'd all be making money, and we'd be like, this is great.
My name, as of December 2022, was used over 12,000 times in Midjourney alone. I had this moment of rage when I discovered that. It was like, what if I had been just paid like $1? $1.
Right.
That is life-changing money.
Yeah.
I'm a single mom. I live by myself. You know, I'm being priced out of the city I live in. And so just like seeing that, I mean, so not long after.
And how much money are they valuated at? It's like this.
Oh God, I can't.
People just throwing money at them.
Yeah. So when me and all these other artists who are paying attention and being like, where's this technology gonna go? Do they not realize how unethical it is? So I kept like trying to reach out to Midjourney and these other companies and being like, hey, I never consented to this.
Oh, interesting.
I don't want it. When I figured out how it was working, at first I was really trying to keep an open mind because I legitimately was and still am excited for the potential use of the technology.
That's cool.
When it's regulated. Because I use reference in my work. I either photograph a model that I hire or I use stock images that I pay for. But I was like, well, what if I were able to create my reference from AI, and especially like now doing comics, what if I could just generate the room of a scene I'm working on or something? I mean, it would just speed up my process so much so that I could just, you know, essentially trace over the reference.
Right.
And I saved myself like 6 hours of work, right? You know, there are so many possibilities and I still think this stuff is possible. Right. But yeah, so I started getting like kind of upset to see my name become like one of these super popular prompts, like my name, like what else? At the end of the day, what else do I have?
Right.
Except for it is my whole identity. Yeah. You know, I've fought for my name. You know, I have a whole history with just me. It's me. Right. So seeing that, just losing my agency in that way was one thing, but then discovering which of my artworks were scraped and used for this Lion 5B database, one with 5 billion images. There are over 50 of my paintings in there and counting. I kind of stopped at 56 or something because I was just like, I got to step back because it's been really emotional every step of the way.
I bet.
But what's happened is every single one of those pieces, I have a different relationship with now. Like my relationship with that artwork is now altered forever because it, you know, when you sell a painting, like, okay, this is no longer mine. I'm passing it on. It's going into the world. You know, you hope it's well taken care of, right? People who own the painting appreciate it and respect it. They're not like going and burning it or stepping on it, right? That's how I felt about every one of those pieces, was that the life of those artworks, I entrusted it to the world as I shared that work, you know, just trying to create community and build my career. That's still taken away from me and violated and used for profit when I'm struggling as hard as I am.
Right.
It just all in this kind of like, I don't know what to do, but I really have to do something. And I was also just kind of at this point in my career where, you know, I was reaching burnout. I mean, I was definitely burned out last year, doing better now, but I was burned out. I was broke. I was leaving a long-term relationship. So starting over completely.
Wow.
And I just kind of felt like I have nothing left to lose. I have nothing else left to lose. Like all of that at the same time. So I just felt rock bottom. And then Carla Ortiz reached out to me after I wrote a post that went viral about how I felt about my work being scraped and violated. And this was after the Lensa app came out, and we saw all of our friends make those pretty portraits with. So my rant came after that, where I was just like, "Oh, hold up, okay, so we need to talk about AI art, right?" Carla reached out and asked if I was interested in potentially working together to form a lawsuit, class action lawsuit. And I adore Carla. She back in like 2016 gave me a portfolio review when I was showing up at, I think it was like Spectrum or something, one of those conventions. I admire her. She's just absolutely brilliant. And so when she wanted to talk to me about that, I was just, whatever you want, like, you're amazing. Such an advocate for the arts. I felt being called to something that I could actually make a difference in.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I have nothing left. I have nothing left to lose. So yes, let's go. Let's do this. And then our lawsuit got announced in January, and it's been just, I've started like a whole new chapter of my life since.
Oh,
so in fact,
that's great.
yeah,
That's amazing. Yeah. And it's, and, I don't know what you can talk about. I'll ask. If you can't talk about it, just tell me you can't.
There's not much I can't talk about.
Okay.
So
what is it that you think can come of this lawsuit, or what are you hoping will come from the lawsuit? Like in practical terms.
Right. So I hope to see all the artists with artwork in that database, at minimum, those with registered copyrights, which I'll be honest, and this isn't a surprise, and this is, publicly available information. I never registered any of my work because I was under the impression that I didn't have to, like that we don't have to as artists. We don't have to register everything we make because
only if you need to prove.
Only if you need to prove. And I was like, in what case would I do that? Well,
yeah.
Anyway, so, but there are other people in our lawsuit who do have the registered copyrights. So at minimum, I want to see the artists with registered copyrights whose work was unethically scraped and put in part of that database. I want to see everyone compensated. I want to see every one of us compensated.
They got the fucking money too. That's what kills me when I think about it. They have the money.
They took from a group of people that they didn't expect to stand up and fight,
right.
Because they could have done this to the music industry too, but they chose to only scrape, legal things. So they didn't want to fuck with the music industry. But
they kind of screwed themselves in that way by because that's like a tell right there that they didn't do it to the music industry.
Oh yeah, no, they knew. Yeah, no kidding. But there was something I was going to say. Oh yeah, okay. So what I want, I want to see all the artists compensated because we deserve to be compensated. They are making a ridiculous amount of money off of free data, our work. And I want to see us compensated. I want to see them held accountable, not just money. I want to see them have to delete the data sets, all of them, start over, scratch it. So that means lie on 5B. It has to be scratched out. It's got to go. Start over. There's
going to be a lot of AI people pissed off at you and Carla if that happens.
Yeah. It has to happen because that's dirty. So there are people trying to say that they have ethical AI art generators. It's a lie.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as an ethical art generator right now because virtually all of them work off of Stable Diffusion, a version of it, which comes from either Lion 5 or one of the earlier data sets. Yeah. All of them scraped unethically. Mm-hmm. So if it's ever going to be ethical, they have to delete those data sets and start over. And we know they're capable of it because they could have just done that from the beginning.
Do you think it's right? Do you think it's possible now, though, that it's got out into the world? Like, do other people have?
I mean, it's definitely possible, but there's always going to be bad players, right? Someone is always going to do the unethical thing. But if as a result of this lawsuit or, Congress actually doing something about it, it will be regulated, and that will mean that it has, hopefully that means new data, get rid of the old data set, get a new one. There will be bad actors who will make their own data sets. Like there's one that was for porn or something. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know all those details specifically, but yeah, it can be done. It's out there. I don't know. I mean, we can't go back in time. Right.
I saw one of, there was a website where people were selling Stable Diffusion. I don't know what they call them, modules or something and there was one of mine. And, but the images all look like shit though.
Want to join the lawsuit?
What's that?
You could join the lawsuit. You could totally, we should talk about
it. Okay. They looked so bad. I was surprised that they looked like shit. Like the sample images look terrible. And they didn't look like my artwork either.
Right.
So I don't
Yeah.
know what
The
it's
fact that somebody's like
terrible quality.
trying to just directly plagiarize your work. I mean, because that's what it is. These are plagiarism slot machines.
Right.
And everyone's getting a dopamine rush every time, they prompt something new. They feel like they're artists. They feel like they're experiencing what we feel when we go through the whole process and journey of creating a piece of art. But they're getting just like this really cheap,
Right.
essentially dopamine from scrolling and TikTok videos. And oh, cool, I can just make art now too.
Right.
We don't need but it's only as good as it is because our work is in there.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So okay, what do you say to the people that say it's the way technology works, it's what happens. What's that? Yeah, adapt or die. What's the one? There's a thing I always hear too that's like it's adapt or die. I guess it's the basic idea of adapt or die is like you're fighting against, you can't win against technology.
Right.
I've heard
all of it.
Yeah. I heard Carla make a really great point that it was like, this is how copyright law started though, by people just like, okay, we have to make a law.
Right. And that's why there are unions striking right now, because there are no working conditions without the workers fighting for the conditions, because we can't trust our overlords to take care of us. They never have. So what I say to people who have a defeatist attitude or, worse, want me to give up and just, first of all, I say, fuck off. Secondly, I see no other choice here. I am never in my life, if I just accepted a fate like that, as because it's not, the future is not written. And if anyone is going to fight back and make sure that artists are treated better, artists are compensated, because what we do has value, even though we are constantly trying to get taken seriously for what we value ourselves as, no one's going to do it for us except for us. So that's why I am such a big part of this fight by choice, is I can see no greater fight in my lifetime than I could possibly be a part of. I have the 15 years of experience of, hundreds of paintings. I'm in the position to, I am the relatable artist, the person that hopefully I can speak up for people who feel the same way, but don't have the energy to do any of it, don't have the fight or whatever. But I'm pissed. Like, I'm mad. I've put so much work into what I do. Why would I just like roll over and accept this?
Right.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. That's also the neurodivergency. Yeah. That ADHD here. And I'm just like, no, this doesn't compute. Like, I don't get it. I have no other choice. I have to fight.
Right.
Why else am I doing any of this? What's the point?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's interesting, to think about. So what's the process? Like, as far as what happens with the lawsuit now? What's the deal? I mean,
so we have gone back and forth. The defendants are being like, "Oh, you should dismiss this," and then we're like, "No, here's a bunch of facts and stuff." And we just go back and forth for a while. 2 days ago, we had our very first hearing, and this is probably the thing I can't speak too much about.
Okay.
But what I can say is that there are some people reading the transcripts to the hearing and thinking that we are going to be defeated. They are looking at what the judge said and what the defendant said, and they are like, oh no, the artists are going to lose. That was not my takeaway. My takeaway is that the judge did not dismiss anything with prejudice, which means that all of our complaints can go forward. Our complaints are several things, including, the copyright concern. So nothing was dismissed, which is, what the defendants want to happen. They want it all thrown out. And we're being given an opportunity to tighten up our case. The judge literally listed everything that he wanted more clarification on. So he gave us a roadmap forward. And from what I'm hearing from our lawyers, is that this is not surprising. It was pretty much expected because this has been the same result with the GitHub lawsuit that they are also doing. So there's another AI lawsuit. There's one ahead of us, and it's the one with the programmers and the code and stuff.
Right.
So that lawsuit has so far gone the same way. And the takeaway is that this is the very first step in a very, very long, years-long process, potentially.
Yeah. Wow. That's
so
how it happens, though.
I mean, it kind of feels like a David versus Goliath situation because all of this is unprecedented. And of course, our opponents want everything thrown out because they're like, well, the copyright law says this is fine. And we're like, yeah, copyright law does not reflect the technology that we're in. That's like half the fight is just getting everyone to catch up and agree that, these things do not match. We're fighting a lot of fronts.
Doesn't copyright law also say that people who, doesn't it essentially say that people who create work with Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, they can't copyright it, right? It's uncopyrightable.
Yeah, that is the current ruling from the USCO is that anything AI generated cannot be copyrighted because there is no human element.
Right.
So they're going back and forth, people trying to copyright AI stuff. They're trying to be like, okay, what if it's all AI and somebody did a slight paint over in Photoshop?
Right.
Can we copyright?
Right.
So they're going to go back and forth and just push the envelope as hard as they can and see what will be accepted. I'm really interested to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
there's artists who will make a mock-up in an AI program and then go paint it the same exact image. So it's like, I'm really curious.
There's even artists who do amazing, cool stuff that I think is very legitimate, where they're rendering stuff in Midjourney and then kind of refining it digitally in Photoshop and like collaging stuff together, and it's like right.
So it's a collaboration with AI.
Right.
I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
I personally, I would so much rather see artists having a collaborative relationship with generated AI. And then, it's so much better than somebody generating an image and just popping it onto Redbubble and then, making money.
Yeah.
I would so much rather people put some work into that. But,
right.
I can't control those people. So, it's not my problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's here's the thing. What we do in the first place is archaic. We make paintings. We make physical paintings. I think when photography was invented, they said painting was dead back, and it's like we're doing this thing now in modern times because it's still cool. It's still I argue that with the more things go digital, the more physical art becomes even more important and more cool and more valuable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
I don't know. As a way to, I was just gonna. I guess I was saying it as like a message of hope. that as much as there needs to be all this. There needs to be. Oh, look at that.
This is Mochi.
Hello, Mochi.
Yeah. Sorry.
Beautiful. As much as I just feel like there will always be painting, and there will always be people that want paintings, physical paintings, and because it's already just what we do. It's hard to make a living because it's so niche, but it still exists, and people still there are still people that just love a physical painting. So I don't know why I brought that up. I guess because you're talking about the losing the younger generation. I feel like there's always going to be people that are still going to know that this is the coolest thing to do is physical art. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So, I think you're getting at this argument that is coming up a lot too is that, some people are super doomsdayer about it, and they're like, AI is going to replace all artists. We're all going to lose our job. There is no future. And then, then the opposite. And I'm in the middle. I'm very concerned that a lot of entry-level illustration gigs are now
definitely
gone.
Those are gone. Those are gone. Entry-level illustration jobs.
Yeah. And, there could be a positive side effect where that means maybe mid-level illustration jobs, the ones that actually pay a little better, and are more life-sustaining. I don't know, I don't know how it's going to go, but I know those entry-level jobs they're gone.
Yeah.
They're going to be,
yeah.
And then also just kind of the, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. That starts with an I can't find it. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that thought. Every time there's a new technology, artists find a way to break the bounds of it. Mm-hmm. So right now we're just seeing the very, very basic results of what these programs are capable of doing. I think a big part of the fight right now is to make sure that it's ethical in the future.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away. I don't necessarily want I don't want the technology to go away. I just want it to be done, like do it better. And,
how can here's the thing. It's like, it's so polarized online, as everything is, but I don't see how it seems like people that are really into AI should be on board with this, to me, because it's like, don't you want a sustainable model that you can feel good about, and that you can use and not have to feel any sense of like, this is kind of shitty using it? You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's basically, I mean, I don't know. I don't have.
No, I'm with you. I want the ethical generator to exist, because I know there are people who want to use it, and if it does exist, I would probably, just as a result of all of this, want to support that.
Yeah. I'm surprised that more. I got an itch in my back. Sorry. I'm just surprised that more pro AI people aren't like supportive of it. It just seems like you're either like, just do it, go full steam ahead, fuck everything else, just adapt or die, and then those
are the people bought a bunch of Bored Ape NFTs, so I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah,
I just want to say that. I did want to say, oh no, it disappeared.
Oh, I know. I do this every episode.
Oh, it was a good one. Oh, wait. Yeah, I figured it out. Okay. So here's the thing is that we have enough information now that if you just serve a generator AI generated images, it collapses on itself.
I know. I saw that the other day. That was kind of funny. Yep.
And so it's like, well, that's why you need human artists and their consent to have your generator in the future. Because like, as it is right now, like, it is kind of funny to think that like, if they don't fix the problem, and there's so many obvious solutions to the problem, if they don't fix it, it's all going to crumble.
Yeah.
Which is so funny.
Yeah. That's my friend, Steve Clough. I don't know if you know him, but he's,
I know him.
Yeah, he's great. He just posted that on Threads. He was like, everyone keep sharing your AI art because it's totally ruining the data. It is. It's kind of funny.
If they just fill up the internet with AI generated stuff, that will be the fall of the internet. Like, I just mark my words, it's gonna crumble, and I'm so ready. I'm ready. Let me get back to bed because I'm done with it all.
Yeah. So
just please end the pain.
Yeah, I'm just, I guess my point was, I'm surprised that it just seems like there's the two camps, mm-hmm. and it just feels like,
and they're just the loudest ones. That's all. People that don't have loud,
But it's like, I see.
Contrary opinions.
It's disturbing to also, I see on the anti-AI side too. People saying horrible things to the pro AI people, like terrible things. It's like,
Yeah.
this doesn't serve either side,
No.
people. You know what I
No.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's real gross.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's the onus is sort of on the AI people to come over and at least entertain the people who are on the I want to say anti-AI, but that's not what it is. On the more skeptical,
pro-ethical
yeah,
AIs.
okay.
I'm like, yeah.
Okay, should come over. It should be on them to come over more to the pro ethical AI side, because these are
It's in everyone's interest.
what was that?
It's everyone's best interest to do so.
True. It's in everyone's best interest, and it's also, these are the people that got their work used without the permission. So they do, even if they do have a right to be angry. That's the thing. It's like, if you can't understand why people are upset, how could you not understand why someone would be upset and afraid that they're going to lose their living? And again, that comes back to, like, this really is like a capitalism issue ultimately. But you can't understand why people are so upset, really. They've built careers over 10, 15, 20 years, and they may just lose their jobs because of something like this.
Well, yeah, because my big fear is that, if someone's able to type in my name instead of hiring me to do their book cover, why would they hire me? Why would they do that?
Right.
If they could, get something close enough,
Right. Yeah. So it's like, I always thought it's a reasonable concern, whether you are one of these gung-ho AI people or not. It's reasonable to understand why people would be concerned about this. So it's like, at least come over and be like, it's just, if it's like, it could be just like you're saying, AI could be good for everybody if it was done this ethical way, and there wouldn't be this fighting, and everyone could use it the way they want to use it, and it would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the powers that be,
but that never happens.
about their capital and profits, and their really bonkers utopian futurist thing. I don't know. Have you heard about that? Like the Silicon Valley, like, AI bros are really obsessed with this, like, utopian idea that AI is supposed to bring us.
Oh, I've heard when I first started researching it, I saw an interview with this kid. Man, he was young too. He must have been like 20 years old, and he was like an AI engineer, 19 years old or something. And he was like, it's going to save the world. It's going to save everything. No one's going to have jobs. And it's like, man, the last time I heard something that was too good to be true, it was crypto and NFTs. We saw that worked out. I remember at the time thinking, like, this is too good to be true, because these things were selling for so much. I'm like, this is either the most amazing thing in my lifetime, or it's too good to be true. But I mean, come on, it's like, let's not be naive here. We know how this goes. It never is like that.
No,
when there's a financial gain behind it.
Exactly. So, I'm choosing to be cautiously optimistic, including the lawsuit and just in general. But I recognize that there is no just wait and see, because if you have a wait and see attitude, then whatever comes, you're just going to have to accept. That's true. I'm not willing to do that. So I have the time and I have the energy, and I'm very passionate about it. And so
that's good. That's good.
I'm going to be signed up to be a part of this fight for, years to come.
Yeah. I keep going back to, it's like, how could anybody not be in agreement with what you're doing?
I appreciate I appreciate that. There are some like really nasty emails in my inbox that would say otherwise.
Yeah, I'm curious what the rationale is. Like because it comes down to like it's affecting me. That's all
Yeah.
I could think of is like it messes
Well,
with
that's
my toy, my
yeah,
cool thing.
yeah,
That's the only
yeah.
reason that they would.
Uh-huh. It's a novelty, and I think people who are that obsessed with a novelty probably don't have much else going on in their lives that they feel good about, and they're very, very attached to something,
Yeah,
and
could be.
they feel entitled. You know, there's a lot of people who also feel suddenly that they are artists, like they legitimately feel like they're being creative, and
Right.
like they believe they're making an image appear out of nowhere. And I would love people to know that experience, but not in this form. You know, I'd be like, please come, let me teach you how to paint. Like, let go to a class, you know, pick up a pencil. It's not democratizing art. Art has never been, it's art isn't being gatekept,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I totally thought that was a stupid point. Gatekeeping, give me a
Yeah.
fucking break.
No.
If you want to see gatekeeping, go to the NFT space. That's the other thing. It's like Web3 is democratizing everything, and it's all no gatekeeping in Web3, and it's like it's the most gatekeepery space there is. Where like, but that's beside the point. But
No, that doesn't surprise me at all.
it's exactly like regular life. Popular people get put ahead of everybody else, and they make all the money. It's like this is just a systemic problem. It's always going to be there no matter what you do, unless you go and fix the underlying system. But again,
but I think a lot of the people who you know feel entitled to whatever you know success looks like for you or me, even though we're like you know super in debt and struggling to pay bills. Like, I don't think either of us are in this because like it's making us money.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
About money, I wouldn't be doing any of this.
I would have stayed. I would have stayed in the movie business. It was
right.
pretty easy job. You know, I had weekends off in the movie business.
Yeah. Yeah. I fantasize about having a 9-to-5 job where I go home at night and just literally like not have to worry about anything and do things on the weekends and have a normal sleep schedule. But no, I away long ago. There's no going back for me.
I've said this analogy many times on the podcast is like when I left the film business, I thought it would be, let me see so you can see. I thought this is where I was with my career. I thought it would be like this much cooler to be a fine artist, and it turned out it was like this much cooler. So it is better. It's better. I'm happy with the decision, but it's not like as amazing as far as the money and just there's a lot of challenges that come along with being your own boss that they don't tell you about, like making yourself work when you don't want to, and keeping a schedule and the money and everything. But
and if you get sick, you don't make money. If you know, it's all dependent on you.
Yeah, which is good too. I like that. I succeed or fail on my own merits. I do like that. It's like, and so when you do succeed, you feel good because it's like you really did do it all by yourself, kind of. You know. So I'm glad. I think it's a kind of a privileged position, but it's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to make a living doing it.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. Your resolve has to be insane. Can't be easily knocked over. You can't knock yourself over, or you just and I had set myself up. Like, I had several really, really, really good years, and I had good health. I had, you know, everything was pretty stable. But then as soon as I started dealing with like some chronic illness issues, like I watched my income completely disappear as a result of me having illness I had no control over. Or the pandemic. You know, we all just went through finding out, you know, what happens if you can't travel for shows, or lost all my Comic-Con income and things like that. So we are constantly being tested in new environments, new circumstances, new technology. You know, you have to be adaptable. You have to be responsive. And you have to remain creative somehow through all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's like, you gotta make a bunch of these little paintings so you can pay for the dentist, your wife's dentist, and then you got to still make them really cool and be super creative with it and be inspired.
It doesn't have to feel inspired. You just have to do it anyway.
And it's like, it's a whole other trip to like, I got to get myself in a mindset where I can really do a good job on these, because I don't want to, I don't put half-ass work out. I just don't do it. It's like,
yeah, I can't do it either. You want watercolor sketches? No, man. Like, you can't do that. Don't have to do that. But yeah, I have to gaslight myself into, like, I have to pump myself up into, like, every time I sit down to paint, just be like, yeah, bitch, you can do it. Today's the day. Like,
like
I light a candle,
right. Yeah, no, I've got a routine. It's like, I got to put some, I haven't done music in so long, but I do like a movie. I'm like a movie nerd from.
Okay. Yeah.
So I got my,
do you rewatch a lot of stuff?
Oh yeah. Like all old stuff that I don't need to pay attention to, cause I know it, like old horror movies and stuff. I just throw them on, or if it's like a TV series that I really like, or documentaries, because you can you can listen to documentaries and you don't have to look, but like new movies, forget it. So it's got to be kind of like old, comfy movies that make me feel good. And then I have to get in the zone and not be like distracted by anything. And man, it's crazy.
It's tough. It's tough. There's distractions everywhere.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do.
Yeah. It's, but that just goes to show how much we love what we do, that we go through this.
Yeah. In fact, I'm no good at anything else. I have no other skills at this point.
Yeah.
I have made this my entire life.
Yeah, you went all in, but that's the only way you can do it.
I have nothing else.
That's the only way you can do it. You got to go all in. That's what Gabe Leonard's. What's Gabe Leonard's famous quote is? Don't have a backup plan. Because it's so like. True. Because when I started, I had no savings.
Yeah.
I had just bought a house. I was making decent money in the film business. And it was like, somehow my wife believed enough in me to like support me, which is amazing. Yeah, she's so amazing.
Yeah.
And I look back and now I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? That was crazy.
Yeah.
I had kids. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I would never do that now. Not that way. I would have some kind of backup plan, but it was like, I had, I guess I could have gone back to effects, but I was like, I was over it. I didn't want to do it anymore. I just couldn't do it. It was painful.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was starting out, it was just like, there's no other option for me. This is it. This is it. I mean, even going into art school and hearing like 1% of you will make it. And so my brain's like, new goal, be the 1% that makes it. There is no other option. That's it for me.
And this is it. You've made it. I've made it. I mean, we've made it. This is making it. This is making it. It's like the Damien Hirst.
Crises on crises.
The Damien Hirst of the world and Jeff Koons and all these like rich, they're not even doing the same thing. It's not the same thing. They're like not even in our realm whatsoever. It's a totally different thing.
I think of them as like corporate artists.
Yeah.
I mean, like they're just on a different.
They're in this other system. It's like we are what the majority of artists are, working artists.
Independent, right? Like
independent, yeah.
That's what I've been calling myself for years, because it just makes sense to me.
Right. Yeah, and so making it is this. You're able to live off it. Doesn't matter if you're like you have to come up with money every month to pay the bills and you have no savings.
Are we thriving? But we're surviving.
Yes. That's making it. Hate to break it all. You want to be artists that want to be artists. That's making it. And you have to be like happy with that.
I wouldn't trade anything though for where I've managed to find myself.
Yeah, for sure. That's the crazy thing. It's like I really feel like this is my purpose in life,
I feel the same.
Yeah.
I feel the same. It's the Japanese concept, and I don't know how it's pronounced. Is it ikigai or ikigai?
Right.
But it's that balance of like your passion and how you make money, and like
what
your
you're good
reason
at, and all these different things. Yeah.
Like I'm there. It's tenuous, but I'm there, and I feel very good about it.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah, I feel like for me, everything is, and I know we're getting to the end, so I'll let you go. I'm sorry to keep you.
No worries.
It's like, I pretty much feel like I'm totally happy with every aspect of it, except the financial part, and having to work so hard because of the financial part. And it's not even like I'm looking to be a millionaire or whatever, and work 1 day a week. I'm like saying, I would like to be able to have my bills covered and a little bit of money in the bank for an emergency, and maybe get a day off a week. That would be it for me. I'd be like, I'm totally cool.
Yeah.
I don't need any more.
Yeah. So I've done that like a few times throughout my career, where I have found that balance, but it never lasts very long.
Right?
I know part of it. It's a cycle.
Yeah,
right?
I've had it happen a couple times too, and it's like, you think when it happens, or for me, I was like, I did it. It's going to be like this from now on. This is great. I expected it to just keep going like that. And it's like, oh shit, Nick, the following year, I'm like, oh man, I'm back on the grind again. Fuck, guys.
Yeah. Or like, that last year I decided to leave like a stable home environment, but I wasn't happy. So, oh no, I'm about to put myself through it again. It's going to be really hard, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's amazing what you're doing, and what Carla's, you guys
appreciate
all doing this. And it's helpful to me to learn more about it and hear from you directly. It helps me to understand it more, because, I've been kind of hands off with the whole thing, but as you can probably see from some of my posts on Twitter and stuff, I'm a little more like, on the pro ethical AI side, which I've always said from the beginning, but I haven't been as active as I should have. But this is,
well, you seem to scrutinize it, and that doesn't have to be the same thing as being anti or pro.
Right.
You're scrutinizing it, and I think that's completely fair and human.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. but having you on the show is and having like Steven and having meets on, this is all part of learning about it, and I'm hoping that it's, everyone who listens to the podcast too will learn about this.
I hope it helps. And of course, I'm always available to be reached out to for, whatever. But it's like my life now. So
cool.
for a while, that'll be it.
Yeah. It's not going to be boring.
No, I don't I would never do that. No. Always pick the interesting life.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate you taking so much time out, coming on the show. Love your work.
Thank you.
It was great talking to you. And
great talking to you. I really appreciate it.
Cool. I don't hang up, because I'll say goodbye to you after I stop recording. But as we do on the podcast, you have to say goodbye somehow to the audience in your own way. Goodbye, everybody, or whatever. So go ahead.
Okay. Hold on, I got this. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. That was perfect.